Helping Seniors Television, all about improving quality of life for seniors. If you're a senior, know a senior, or plan to be a senior, then this show is for you. It's all about helping you develop your own aging plan so you can age actively and with dignity. Helping Seniors Television from the Helping Seniors Network of information, education, and resources. Today, Helping Seniors TV program host Joe Steckler talks with two experts in the field of guardianship and case management. His guests are Phemister, a nationally certified professional guardian and care manager, and Lisa Hodgins of R.E.P.S Inc. Let's join the discussion.
Welcome to this edition of Helping Seniors. Our show today is about case management and guardianship. And we'll be talking with two ladies that are professionals in both areas of guardianship and case management. And I think it's probably one of the most misunderstood areas of elder care that we can come across. And people just need to know more about it because when it comes to the point of care for seniors, I think that we need to make sure that people understand. And I think that you, Lisa, with your Reliable Protection Elderly Services program, you help, the name of your company sort of says what you do. And then Robin, with your R.P.M, I got to read it. R.P.M, President of Solutions by R.P.M. What does that mean?
So truly, it's a monogram. It's the initials, but the solutions end means that I'm committed to resolving problems. So whatever I'm faced with, I'm going to do my best to find a solution.
Through being a guardian and through being a case manager, both?
Whatever it takes. Sometimes you need to be a friend.
Okay. Now, Lisa, tell our viewing audience just what that long title I stumbled over, what does it really mean?
It's R.E.P.S things, Reliable Elderly Protection Services. So whether I'm a case manager or I'm acting as my role as a professional guardian, it's to protect the people that have been put in my care as best as I can and getting them the help that they need.
Okay. Roughly a year and a half ago, I spoke to a group over at the Tuscany Grill. Were either one of you there?
Not that day.
Yeah, we were there. I spoke to a group of guardians and case managers, and this is something that I've been involved with elder care in Brevard County now roughly 28, 29 years. And probably the most misunderstood area truly is guardianship and case management. People, when they hear the word guardianship or case management, they initially think attorneys, judges, courtroom, fantastic expense. And it doesn't have to be that way, does it?
No.
So today I've asked both of the ladies if they have some personal examples that they can relate before the camera to help you understand exactly what it is they do. Because I think we can talk about, we can develop all kind of verbiage about case management and guardianships and guardians and all this stuff, but hearing what you really do, I think, is going to help our viewers. But let's start with you first, Lisa. Mm-hmm. What is a case manager / care manager? What does that mean?
That's someone that comes alongside the family to help them with some resources. And for me, the best way is an example of some families that I've helped. One family I'm helping now, the husband is the caregiver for his wife, but she has advanced dementia. She's in a facility, but he's still home taking care of the whole property, the home, the lawn, the shopping, to maintain the home. He's completely overwhelmed. So what we do, we come in and he couldn't even deal with the bills anymore. He's like mentally, as a caregiver, they can be exhausted. And they just need extra support. So we're helping to pay all his bills. We're helping to coordinate services in the home if the washer breaks or they need lawn care, repairs, that we put the services in place to go take care of that. So he doesn't have to worry about that. His job, we say, you go take care of Marlene. You take care of your wife. That's your job. And so that frees him up so much. And we've become such good friends too. It's just, he comes to us with whatever the problems are that arise for her care. We've helped him get a nurse case manager involved for her medical care as it's gotten more complicated. So just providing resources for him in the support, I think, because he's by himself, he's lonely too. So I think just to provide an extra support for him. I don't know how to put it into words, but we've become really good friends as far as also helping him on a professional level.
Well, let's say that you, like the family we were talking that you're helping now, with the husband so tied up in the care of his wife, if he needs things like a roof repair done or something, would you as a case manager arrange for a roof repair or any other type of work?
Right, we would go
do?
solicit some quotes from reputable companies to make sure, and we'd review it with him. I mean, he's still in charge of his money, but we will write out the bills and he signs them. We're doing a lot of the work for him, and then he just has to come in and sign things. He's power of attorney of his wife. He still has capacity, so he can make those decisions. But he doesn't have the time to do the research, and he doesn't have the time to put all the bills together and do those kind of things that need to be taken care of. He's getting his own medical issues. So as his health is declining, he's able to do less and less on that end, and we're able to help and assist him.
How old are these people that you're helping generally?
80s, mid-80s.
In their 80s? Mm-hmm. So even if you didn't have the sickness, the chances might be pretty likely they would need the kind of services that you're providing.
Yeah, it just gets overwhelming. Another client that we're helping, visually impaired. She can't read the bills that come in, and she was taken advantage of. And so it's easy for us to see that people can get exploited so easily. You need reputable people in place to help. Let me read your bills. I'll read you each bill. I write out the checks. She does the signing, but we're very open with what it is. And it's so easy for them to be taken advantage of. And it's, you need people that you can trust. And because we're professional guardians, we're background checked, we're fingerprinted, we have to do credit reports turned into the court every 2 years. So the same steps and procedures we do in place for a guardian, we carry that over into care management. We have the same guidelines, we're tracking everything, we have to track every penny for the court. We do the same thing with finances and what we do for our clients financially and the services we provide.
Robin, does Lisa let you have access to clients? She tries to steal all the talk in the show.
We actually work very well together, and we share an office space. We share
administrative
I know
you do. That's why I asked her, because I know you two work together. Yeah. But how about give us a little bit of your take on the guardianship side of it, and then let's see how. I know the two of you work together because you essentially both of you do the same thing, but you're going to explain.
So first and foremost, I think it's really important to understand that guardianship, while it can be a very good tool, it should always be the last resort. So when people have carefully drafted their advance directives and they've taken the measures to identify and assign someone that will assist them in their later years, that's great. Sometimes the people that they relied on, maybe took advantage, exploited. Sometimes they have no family at all. Maybe they designated a spouse who since passed. They survived their spouse who was designated as their power of attorney and healthcare surrogate. There are so many examples of when that would happen. The bottom line is, if the advance directives don't identify someone ready, willing, and able to step in and help manage, if they lack capacity, the only alternative is guardianship.
But I think it's important that when we're using the words guardian and guardianship pretty loosely and interchangeably, and they're really not. They're two separate things. The guardianship is put in place by a judge.
Right.
And the judge, through the instrument of the guardianship, appoints, say, you or Lisa as a guardian.
That's right.
And then once you're appointed as a guardian, then you perform the role of a case manager.
With the court's oversight. Yeah.
With what?
With the court's oversight.
With the court's oversight. And that's something else. And I did a show with Bill Johnson, an Elbow attorney. It was a very important thing. He points out that if people they might think that there are a lot of bad things about guardians and guardianships and case management and everything, but when these things are put in place by a judge, they have to be monitored by a court, and a court makes that guardian responsible for submitting on a quarterly or an annual basis a complete financial outlook for the person's estate. It's monitored by the judge and the court, and the chance, I think it provides for a very, very small chance for a family to be cheated or for abuse and that's. How often do the two of you and your work come across family abuse in the work that you do?
That's a really high percentage.
A high percentage?
Of at least my guardianship cases. There are some, the cases that aren't, I think they either have no family, no one to step in, or they have some dysfunction in their family.
Right.
Maybe children, are available, but they don't see eye to eye and, can't seem to make the decisions together. By the time it comes to guardianship, they've usually gone through other avenues first. So, again, hopefully guardianship is the last resort.
How would both of you answer this question? What can the people in the viewing audience, what kind of steps can they take now, regardless of the age that they're at? What can they start, or should they start thinking about now in terms of preventing guardianships, having the right documents in place, seeing an attorney at an early age rather than a late age? What kind of advice would both of you get? You can go first, Rob.
Well, I think you definitely identified a lot of the key factors. So having the opportunity to take the time and really think about what you want your life to look like when you're in your later years. I think people plan on getting old. I think what we found is people don't plan on things like dementia. They never anticipate that they won't be able to make decisions for themselves, or that they'll be making poor decisions, or that they'll trust the wrong people and be exploited financially. So their life savings could be lost by befriending the wrong person. And these bad actors come in and they appear very trustworthy. They infiltrate themselves, very much into that family or that household. So it's a difficult process to get out of a bad situation. But certainly lining up their advance directives, really being able to identify who will act in their best interest and act as they would themselves if they could. So if they lost capacity, who will make the best decisions for them like they would do on their own? And then identify a successor. And maybe a successor after that, because life takes turns and, we don't know when our time will come. And so you may identify a child as that responsible person, but, a tragic accident could change your elder plans, So considering who the alternatives would be. Bad things happen to good people, though. And sometimes money causes people to do things that they shouldn't do. So even though you've identified what seemed like the right person, 20 years ago, it may turn out to be wrong. But the more you can align yourself with people that you trust, people that will act out your wishes, the better position you're in. You may choose to have one person that's more financially responsible and another who would make better healthcare decisions for you.
There's a document that funeral homes pass out to clients when they come in. It has a thing that lists almost every kind of asset, everything you can think of. It's one of the best. And my wife says, if you start filling it out, Joe, and I said, no. Right. I know I need to do it. And here I am, always advocating for people to do these things. And I have been procrastinated over doing some of the things that I personally know should be done. But on the other hand... If
you don't, I'm going to have to refer you to Mr. Johnson.
I know, and people don't like to think about their demise, but I've got a thing in my computer it's called The End. And I've told my son about it. I said, since I had graduated from the Naval Academy, and they published an obituary in there, and it can only have so many words, and it's written a little bit different from the one in your hometown. And then you like, I've retired here in Melbourne, so the obituary for Melbourne would be different from the one from my hometown, certainly different from the one I'll put here in the Naval Academy Shipmate magazine. So I tried to make it easier for my family to put all this stuff together, and then all this later stuff about people having all their pictures. I've started a hanging pile in one of my cabinets at the house that I'm putting pictures in it. I want them to put on that picture board. I want some I don't want on there, but you know.
Now, one thing that we run into too, because we really take a person-centered approach. We really do our best to identify that person's desires and their wishes and their routine. What is the best life for them? What are they going to be most comfortable with? You know, one thing, just kind of as an example, is that when someone has more advanced dementia, hygiene becomes a bit of an issue. Sometimes, you know, the assisted livings or the skilled nursing facilities, they have a shower schedule. And so you get your shower at, 2 o'clock on Tuesdays and Saturdays or whatever it is. And maybe that's not the best time. So if we have a better understanding, or the family has a better understanding about even simple personal preferences, if you knew that that person took their shower before bed their whole lives, having them do it in the middle of the day will cause upset. It could cause agitation. They may not be able to communicate why it's a problem for them. They're acting out or, demonstrating some kind of negative behavior. So better communication all around can solve a lot of problems.
Lisa, hearing what Robin is talking about, what would you, I know there's some things that you're probably thinking that what else would you add?
I think as far as the advanced directives, when someone needs to plan ahead, they need to review those documents every few years. Like Robin said, changes happen, but you need to also have that conversation with the people you're naming in the documents. Some people go to the attorney, I want my son and this and that. They never tell the family members that maybe don't want that role, and maybe they're not the right person for the role, because you don't want to give authority to someone, even if, it could be loving son or something, but if they don't know how to manage their money, they're very poor stewards with their finances, that's probably not the right person for you to have manage your money as you age. You just be very careful who they're assigning for that, and let the person know. There needs to be open dialogue there to say, here's my wishes, here's what I'd like you to help me with as I age. These are my, my preferences.
I know. I think we have a gentleman my wife and I take to church, and he's in his late 80s. And he's facing some potentially very, very serious heart surgery. And if it's successful, they can go through the veins in his leg, or if that doesn't work, they'll have to cut him open. But he doesn't have a durable power of attorney. He doesn't have certain documents. And so I asked him about him. We were taking him to church one day, and he said, no. I said, do you want me to make arrangements? And I said, well, he has macular degeneration, so he can't drive. So we made an appointment with an attorney, and we're going to take him over to get his documents prepared. But there's just so much of this out there, Lisa and Robin, that people are not aware of until they view a show like we're talking about. Some areas that are very alien to many, many people. But go ahead.
I just want to make a comment. If in this scenario, the gentleman has to go to the hospital, I believe he should draw up some documents naming someone for a temporary power of attorney, but have it maybe in the contract that after this surgery, if he doesn't need any assistance, the contract's over. He can revoke that power of attorney. Yeah. So at least it covers. So say he has a stroke, he's not able to talk, he's going to have an advocate that's going to help, talk to the doctor, and someone's just going to be there for him. Because with HIPAA, they can't just release all this information. And we've seen some not good things happen in the hospital. You want somebody there with you. You want someone following up afterwards. Make sure your home's safe. Maybe he needs care in the home after the surgery. Probably sounds like he's going to need care in the home.
Yeah, we kind of thought of that. But with this guy, he needs. He's either going to have his son or his daughter come out. And it's time. He's 87 years old. And it's time that he has somebody that he has appointed to make some of these decisions based on what he wants to have, this way he wants to have it done. And I think it's safe to say that most judges, when they get in an area of appointing a guardian or anything, prefer to use family members if they can. Isn't that true?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Family's best.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Families preferred as long as they're able. And I'll tell you too, I've been appointed or been working with other families where I'm not the guardian, a family member is the guardian, but they're out of the area. And so they engage us as a care manager to be the boots on the ground local, to help them achieve what needs to be done. Make recommendations and
do you find that most of your functions as a guardian where you're appointed, or else you are a case or a care manager for, and by the way, care and case manager is the same thing, right? They are the same thing. Terminology used interchangeably?
it can be. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if somebody's appointed as a case manager, your job, the persons that it could be in charge of the person could be living out of the state, and they could hire you as the case manager here to do all these things that need to be done. And I'm just going to make a homemade example up. Let's say like somebody living in New York.
I have an example for you. I said I have a similar example. I have a power of attorney, lives out in Michigan. The client was friends with the person here has dementia. She's in assisted living. Her husband passed away, but he had appointed his friend in Michigan to be her power of attorney. I guess she signed it as well. But he's the power of attorney out of state. He uses us locally to monitor her care and provide services, whatever she needs here, companions, getting her to appointments, those kind of things, using a local person. He's doing the money end of it as a power of attorney, but I'm doing kind of her care and watching, like Robin said, the boots on the ground here locally for her care. So it's possible.
The difference is he's the signing authority. He signs a consent for treatment. He signs checks, pays bills. So as a care manager or case manager, we don't have the authority to spend their money or make decisions for them.
But you're his eyes on the scene.
That's right.
You're his eyes here in taking care of his parent. And you see the things that she needs, and you can call him. And I would suspect that good case managers and a good working relationship between the person who needs to have something done and the person doing the care on scene like you all do, the better rapport you have with each other, the more effective, especially in terms of getting what they need and in terms of saving of dollars, that it's best to have that kind of relationship.
Right.
We're helping them. I'm helping that particular case. He wasn't aware of the aides and attendants benefits because her husband was in the military. And so he'd never heard of it. And I'm saying, no, there's a great benefit that can bring some income in for her. So we're in the process of doing all the paperwork now. And I'm here locally putting all the paperwork together, getting it over to the VA, and we're applying for those benefits. But that's can be used for her care. And so I'm actually bringing them income to help that family.
One thing, I would like to have a general discussion on cost. And the reason I would like to have a general discussion on cost is because I think that there are so many things that mitigate against thinking that a guardian or a case manager gets paid excessively, or I can do this without having somebody like that. I think they should start to think in terms of, if I pay X number of dollars a month, then I'm going to get what my parent needs on time and when it should be, and I'm not left guessing, or my mother or my father is not lacking for what kind of care they need. Thinking of something like that, can you sort of discuss a ballpark of what guardianships and case managers, what can people expect if they're afraid to even ask the question?
Well, don't ever be afraid to ask a question, first of all. But to have that dialogue, we've certainly, we've been appointed as a guardian pro bono and never expected a paycheck. So it does happen. It's a little difficult to keep the lights on in the office with too many of those. So we have to be careful that there's a fine balance. But we can take pro bono cases when we really need to. But guardianship is paid for through the ward's assets. So it is the client who's paying for it. Same with case management. Our rates, we bill the same way that the attorneys do. We have to bill in increments. We try to always, like Lisa said, be good stewards of our clients' resources. And so we really look for ways where we can make our services more cost effective. So, maybe as a guardian or case manager, the rate might be the higher end of the scale, but we're going to look for duties that can be assigned by administrative personnel. And that's going to be at a far lower rate. We're going to look for areas where we can save them money and be more efficient. So we try to look at the whole picture, whether it's guardianship or whether it's being paid for, privately through private funds like that. We carry that across the board on everything that we do. We always try to be cost effective. We can work with someone in their budget. And many times we've been involved in a situation, there's a bit of crisis, they're overwhelmed. We can come in, but they don't maybe need us forever. They need us for a period of time.
That's a key point. And most of your work is done up front. The great deal of the expense is putting the plan together for what the person needs. But what I had hoped you might say was that people may not get what they need. And so we'll talk about that in the next episode we do on this, because there's so much that people need to understand. Lisa, I want to thank you, and Robin, I want to thank you for being in the show today. When you talk about a topic that's very interesting and people know a little about, it goes awfully quick. So, and I want to thank you, viewer, for watching today's show, and I hope that you found it informative. I'm Joe Steckler. Thank you for joining our program today. I'd like to remind you that our senior information line is available to you at 321-473-7770. There you can get help and direction that could be helpful for your specific situation or circumstances. The work of helping seniors is very important, but we can't do it alone. That is why our sponsors here in Brevard County are so important. I'd like to thank our many area sponsors, businesses and medical providers who support the mission of helping seniors that help us carry the cost of our media efforts. If you'd like to join us either as a business partner or simply donate as an individual, we would welcome your call at 321-473-7770. You are always welcome to visit our website at www.helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. Thanks so much for your help. It does make a difference.